How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm just going to go on and attempt a little mission. It's on Black River called Roadblock, just trying to get some of my map sorted, get all the routes unlocked. I'm going to head up. There is a place nearby that I could grab some service spare parts, but yeah, I'm going to go and grab them from the top corner and then take them to the roadblock. So today I wanted to test like this Z pack of trucks out. I started with this one. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a bit of a I suppose it's still six-wheeled, but yeah, a little bit of a different configuration to normal. You can see though, it's not just got rear steer, but it's got some pretty excessive rear steer really. I do quite like the different setups you can get though, and of course, bringing a goddamn horse to a vehicle, if it can have roof supplies, it can have a roof loaf. That's just facts. We all know it. I'm able to pack it, so that means it must belong there. Yeah, I quite like the fact that you can get like a sort of roll cage thing on the front, like an exoskeleton type thing or something, whatever it said. And yeah, put a load of fog lights on, which is pretty nice. So I started attempting this one at night, but I kind of abandoned mission in a minute. You'll see why. I mean, there already you can see as I turn, we nearly tipped. I mean, long story short, with the rear steer, it's good. It's a nice idea. I just think if anything, it'd probably be best off to maybe like half the amount of rear steer it has, because yeah, there's not enough weight low down really. It's not the end of the world that it's not weighted low down, but the fact that it turns so abruptly, I can assure you as well, it was irrelevant whether you have a loaf on the roof or not. When I originally drove it out of the garage, I did like a bit of a sharp turn as I went to get a trailer, and I rolled, so yeah, that was without a loaf or anything. Cutting through that mud, not too bad, again a little bit slow, but nothing too crazy. I mean, I think part of the problem is this trailer I'm bringing with me. As much as I do like this trailer, and I will be using it on plenty of other things, yeah, I think there is certainly a bit of weight to it. And yeah, overall, this thing, it was just struggling a little bit, so as you can see, I kind of skipped ahead a bit, but I got down the road, kind of abandoned mission, turned it back to daytime. I'm kind of glad I did, to be honest, because I do quite like driving at night, but I don't know, it just doesn't come across as well, I think, on a video, because essentially everything's dark except, yeah, where the headlights are, and it just, you can't really see as much as what's going on, what's happening with the tyres, are they wheel spinning or not. You'll see as well now as I'm heading back. Yeah, this thing's definitely, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it's top heavy, it's just not particularly bottom heavy, and particularly once you do activate the rear steer, it's kind of, yeah, sort of tucks your tyre underneath the back a bit and helps it flop around a lot, but fortunately we've got a goddamn professional with us. And you know how Lo4f rolls like a beauty. Little toot of the horn, let him know he's on the case. Yeah, as far as winch points go as well, I was like, well, I'll attempt it, but I wasn't too keen on that winch point, because it's quite narrow really. It wasn't, yeah, it doesn't give you the best leverage to kind of flip them over to their wheels. And now you can see it started to go, but if anything, I'm more dragging it just along on its side now, rather than, it doesn't really help that I'm slightly uphill. If I was, maybe it happened the other way around and I was facing slightly downhill, I could have flipped it from that winch point. But yeah, changed it to the front, which is nice. At least it's got like the 4 winch points, 2 in each corner. And yeah, give the loaf a chance to dig his little loaf hole. Get some super loaf grip. Job's a good one. Saves the day again as usual. 100% rescue record maintained. I mean, I didn't really think it'd have much trouble rescuing these. You can see there, just as I disconnect the trailer and drive forward, it's almost like an instant drift, because the rear steer is, yeah, pretty keen on it. And just to show you, I mean, the loaf can always repack himself if he needs to. It's not his first time jumping on a trailer. Yeah, these trailers are quite nice. You can reverse up kind of the tongue, apparently is what it's called. The bit that attaches to you, that you hitch onto. Use the little tree behind, helps scoop me up there. And that's where these posts along the side, you can kind of catch yourself on a bit. It'd be pretty cool, to be honest, if there was like a version of this trailer. I think I might have said it in the live stream as well. If somebody could make a version of this trailer just with like solid boards running down either side. I mean, that side of it, once I attached the trailer, for whatever reason it kind of scooted it back, half tipped it, and yeah, those posts sticking up the side obviously kept my loaf on, my cargo, whatever, it's like they help stuff not tip off there. And yeah, so like I say, I'm going to head back to the garage, switch out. The good thing about this Z truck pack is there's 3 different trucks to choose from. You got this one, which has kind of got, yeah, the 6-wheel, 3-axle setup, but they're all kind of spaced out evenly. There's the next truck I'll be grabbing is kind of a more traditional setup with the 1 front axle, 2 rears. And there is another truck as well, which is just like a four-wheeled version, so it's a little bit like the truck I'm about to grab, just with one less rear axle. Get me a Lo4f there. See, he likes engine damage. Plot twist. Yeah, I'm going to try this version, which again, like I say, I quite like these trucks. I think maybe after driving them, a slightly more powerful engine would be nice. I know I am a bit keen on engine power, but yeah, again, it's nice once I've got the engine power there. It's then down to me to introduce it and limit it, etc. When there's not a lot there, it's just kind of, yeah, one size fits all. It's just going to be the same thing. Oh yeah, I know what I was doing now, sorry. One cool thing I did find out with this trailer is it's got the ability to lock the axle, and again, this is the same dude who made the A's of Iceberg and the Twice Twin Steer. I assume he's added this option into it, because I don't think I've ever seen it before. So I've been able to lock the dolly axle at the front, so you can see now it doesn't rotate at all, which yeah, I think is pretty cool. If I'm honest, out of most trailers, this one probably doesn't need it as much, because the twin axle dolly setup works a hell of a lot better. But on this single axle trailer, hoping you can do it on that, yeah, that'd actually like be useful. In fact, particularly the ramped flatbed is probably the one I'd most like to do it on, the 4-slot trailer. And of course, again, we're bringing a goddamn horse of a vehicle with us. You just seen him save the day a minute ago. Why wouldn't you bring a horse? And yeah, you can see again, I mean, I don't think it's painfully slow. I mean, it's a similar thing, you know, some mods I'm quite cool with slower pace. Some, they don't really float my boat if they're a bit too slow. This, yeah, kind of, I'm just about alright with its slightly slow pace, but a little bit more. It feels like it's not got many revs being introduced. Maybe just, yeah, I don't know if that's some like behind the scenes rev cap situation, or well, I'm in low range diffs on. It was still crawling through the mud again. You'll see pretty soon. I cut this trailer loose a little bit later, because as much as I do like the trailer, I just think this thing with this setup, yeah, it's not quite, yeah, not quite up to speed. As far as climbing, I was thinking, oh no, is it going to die trying to crawl up this hill? In the high gear though, it didn't stall, which I'm pretty happy with. That's nice, that's a good start. I like trucks in this game that have quite a sort of a forgiving high gear that don't complain too much. And yeah, I mean, this first section, I know this first section is a little bit trollish. Again, I think I put the off-road gearbox in this. There is actually another gearbox. I mean, this has got 4 gears, I believe. The other gearbox has got 5 gears. I give it a little blast. I didn't really notice too much difference, particularly in, say, the high range and stuff like that. I mean, again, for the most part, I'm certainly a fan of the high range gearboxes. I wouldn't mind the option. I think it's not too keen on going through this little section either. Was it this one? Yeah. Fortunately though, the good news is it's not that bad for tipping really either. I mean, I got a bit of a lean on there. We have got a loaf on there as well, which will add a little bit of weight higher up. A nice thing with a loaf though, one thing I've always liked about the loaf, if you imagine the weight characteristics of the loaf, it's basically, imagine the 4 wheels and then an absolute thick, nice, meaty slab of metal like along the bottom chassis, and then the whole frame of the loaf and everything doesn't really weigh a lot by comparison. So yeah, even though the loaf is sitting pretty tall, most of the loaf weight is still below the roof of the truck we've got. That's where I just cut the trailer loose. I just wanted to see, and yeah, picked up speed a bit better, so I sod it. We've got a 2-slot flatbed thing on the back. I'll have to scoot the loaf off when we get there, but that's not a problem. Yeah, this is a much better pace. So, and after driving these trucks, to be honest, again, I quite like them. I still think they're a pretty cool fit within the game. Nailed a tree. It's always good to nail a tree, especially when you've got a loaf on board. Yeah, they've got quite a nice amount of different setups you can add on to them. I mean, particularly as well, that truck I used before that's got the crazy rear steer and everything. You can add like some big sort of fuel tanks on it. There's a couple of different combinations of... I had some kind of like essentially a van body on the back of it that had quite a lot of repair points. Those little 2 baskets you could see on the roof as well, where I ended up parking my roof loaf. you can put supplies in them, and it's quite nice in that sense because you can do various combinations. They've kind of got a couple of different roof rack options. One's kind of leans fuel heavy, where it's mostly fuel. One's mostly repairs, and one's mostly tyres, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty cool that it's like even more customizable. You can kind of build something that's a little bit more like fuel truck specific or repair truck specific, etc. And yeah, that's probably what I'd end up using these as, because they are slightly small trucks, so as far as hauling like big heavy loads, they're probably not going to be amazing at it anyway. I mean, this thing was struggling a little bit with that trailer, not quite as far as struggling, but again, you can see now it's picked up its pace a lot better. And yeah, it's having no real issues with a loaf carrying one of them around, so just using them as like little sort of scout repair vehicles kind of thing would be probably a pretty nice use for them. And again, yeah, they're I don't know if that three-wheeled one or the three-axle like that all spread out. I don't know how well that one would do climbing up hills and stuff. Like I said, it was a little bit tippy, particularly with that rear steer. This one though, I definitely think would be a bit of a an agile mountain goat hill climber thing, because it's doing pretty well for not tipping. And like I said, I could have gone to the warehouse pretty much to the right of me when I disconnected that trailer, but I just kind of fancied taking this through the little route that I do normally on the reviews. I would like to do a couple more truck reviews as well. I kind of, when they originally added mods, I got a few reviews done, but then they were just adding mods quicker than... It takes quite a while to get all the footage and everything for those review videos, so... yeah, in the end I was just testing mods. I mean, that's part of the reason I'm driving this thing now, because I tested it out, I believe, on like the summer proving grounds. Yeah, it just didn't really... I was a little bit cautious in like the first introduction of the mods, because there was quite a few people saying various glitches and losing their game data and all that, which I really didn't want to happen. So yeah, I was a little bit cautious, kind of sticking to proving grounds quite a bit once somebody let me know about them. And yeah, now it's just like I'm sort of doing my doing the rounds back through some of the mods, trying out them on missions, and yeah, will I keep them long term or what? So, got me 2 service spare parts, and we're off. Quite like the tyre choices as well with these. I think there was a chained option for them, but they've kind of got their own slightly custom versions of tyres. The tyres that I could get as well on that other truck, again the kind of mad 3-axle one, there's actually quite a nice set at the end. It's like they seem to be apparently very good on mud and snow, which they kind of look like they would be, and as much as I did drive in mud, yeah, they weren't doing too bad. Like I said, if anything, I'd say it was more just a little bit of an engine power boost. Would probably be my first port of call if I had the chance to tweak anything. But that's very easy for me to say when I'm just sat here driving the things. Like, as I've said before, I'd be lucky to be able to mod a square into the game, so never mind building particularly stuff like this, which is like a custom truck that's not even in the game. I don't know how people do it, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. Yeah, just getting like a steady stream of new stuff to drive. And one thing that I have to say, I've said it before, and I do stand by it, that I have to credit kind of the SnowRunner devs and everything for, is to a degree they've shot themselves in the foot for the possibility of a lot of DLC. I get that they have slipped a few DLC trucks in there, but for the most part, I mean, you don't get mods officially binded into most games. Yeah, because it stops their own chance from adding mods themselves, really. I mean, they could have gone about it a different route and just said, yeah, there's no mods, and we'll add certain things as a DLC or something. So it's yeah, for the most part, it's pretty cool that we do just get a selection of free trucks to drive around. Certainly help with the longevity of the game in general, I think, as well. I still need to try a few more of these custom maps as well. I just never know which one to get stuck into. Give me a loaf, a little nudge. One thing I did notice as well, that's pretty cool, because I remember they removed it for a while, but you can actually grab the lines now, like that you've drawn, and move them around. Not only that, but they move pretty bloody quick these days. You used to drag them like really slow. Yeah, so I left the dot there and was unsure, because I could go left now, and it's a little bit of an easier route through the mountains. I was curious, depending on how well this thing handled thus far. There's kind of a bit of a harsher route going up the mountains, and yeah, I fancied seeing how this thing climbs. I notice now as well, you look at the fuel, it's nailed the fuel just driving there and back. Not only that, at some point, I think when I dropped it into high, the litres per minute blipped just over 30. It kind of calmed back down again to about, like, I think 19, 20 or whatever. But yeah, that's a bit of a juicy engine. Surprising, considering, like I said, there doesn't feel like there's a absolute abundance of power or anything. I was going to say at first, I already knew the fuel was pretty low by this point, but I wondered if I could drop the hammer, as usual. If in doubt, drop the hammer. It's funny though, because when I used to drive my M5, it's, yeah, like I said, that thing just drank a certain amount of fuel, whether you were going 10 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour, so it was cost efficient to go fast. And then when it said 31 miles range left on the fuel thing, it was a lying bastard. 31 miles meant about 31 seconds in that car. Like, you have 31 seconds to find a fuel station, otherwise you're going to be pushing the car home. Yeah, just quick stop, refuel again, horse, goddamn professional. He's got fuel. I have to say though, as well, to this thing, credit where it's due, it's a pretty good climber. Hauled up that mountain pretty well, really. I don't like that mechanic in general. It's nothing against this truck or any other truck that has those, like, engageable diffs. I just don't like how the game tries to break. I don't even mind that it breaks the engageable diffs or causes damage. It's more that it's even trying to tell me that I'm not allowed to use my diffs. Like, what if I want to use my diffs? And even if it is breaking my diffs, it's like, what are you telling me for? I'm not a diff. I don't need to know that kind of information. That's the diffs problem. But yeah, when what the game decides is bad terrain for your diffs and then decides to start breaking them, it seems a little bit... I also think it's got a little bit stricter recently. Might just be me. Maybe I'm just more ignorant and keep slapping them on the diffs whenever I feel like it. Yeah, anyway, job done. Not too much on the payment, but we got the road cleared. It's a good start. What's that? My CK-1500 still sat there. I think that's the first vehicle I got on this playthrough. And now I've got to head back to the base. I'm going to go and grab that trailer again because, yeah, it's, well, particularly like, as I was saying, in some ways it's probably been a good thing because it's kind of forced me to keep things a bit tidier. But once you've turned that off-road trailer pack on, obviously, like, that trailer I was towing is a custom version of a trailer, so if I now leave that trailer abandoned there, and then at some point I turn that off-road trailer pack off, it'll say there's a mod code number, whatever, missing from the game. So, yeah, rather than just abandoning trailers everywhere, I've got to kind of grab them and take them back somewhere each time. And this thing, I kind of left this a little bit in just before we get there, because cutting across there, even in the muddy terrain, this thing I thought was doing alright. Now it's not got any cargo, it's towing a loaf behind it. Obviously the loaf's going to be driving itself to a degree as well, so... yeah, it's just about... it's not the fastest pace or anything, but I can just about get by, ticking along like this. So again, get the trailer, but of course, got to get that goddamn professional with us. Well, I wanted to try something else, because these trailers inadvertently work. I need, in fact, it reminds me to find the mod that gives you some kind of ramps in the yard. I need to try that out. But for now, the old school way. The old school way works just fine. So, reverse up that little improvised ramp. Get a winch onto that truck. I wasn't sure why it was driving that way, but then I figured out that. Stick the gearbox in auto, it'll start heading back towards me. Get it nice and flush with the trailer. And again, this is where it would be slightly helpful if there was a version of this trailer just with flat sides, because as I'm reversing, I'm kind of catching those posts every now and then. Like, nope. OCD. Gotta try and be nice and centered. You see? Even without a crane, the loaf is a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Self-loading. So I'll cut out a little bit of that to reverse around, grab the trailer, and we're heading back. I mean, what a nice view. When don't you want to see a loaf? I mean, now it's a little bit of a downhill section as well. It's kind of not, trailer's not holding me back too much. And like I said, yeah, just about this pace I could live with. Like I said, coming the other way that I was before though, it was a little bit on the slow side. That's where, like I said, there's a little bit more power, just to give it a bit of oomph when you're trying to climb up hills and stuff. But unlike the other truck, coming down here, hit that angle, it does tip a bit, but yeah, this thing's pretty decent for not tipping. That was a pretty nice angle that it held. Little shortcut to the garage. Little glitch there in the footage. It always gets me with one of them. And job done. So yeah, with these trucks, I mean, overall, I'd probably say before I prefer the look of that one with like the 3 axles that are spread out, but I have to say this one is probably the more usable. Yeah, better weighted and all the rest of it. It seemed pretty good. Jump my little loaf off there and we're done. Still need to get quarry unlocked so I can get the loaf's top engine, make it a full meatloaf. But yeah, that's about it for today. Just took this little truck for a walk just because I can. That's what you get from a loaf. Yeah, that's about it for today though. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members, and I'll be back soon.